The privilege of the floor for agenda-specific comments, if anyone wants to stand up. Since we have a podium, we'll might as well use it tonight.
Tom Harris, Woodbury. I just wanted to comment on your possible changes to the agenda format that you mentioned at last month's meeting, which I believe entailed possibly cutting privilege of the floor down to one privilege per night. And I'd like to discourage you from doing that for a couple reasons. Number one, if somebody shows up that has children at home, they want to get home as early as possible, or if they have their children with them, which has happened in the past, that would allow them to speak. Right now, it's an hour and 8 minutes into the meeting. The second privilege of the floor last month was approximately 3 hours into the meeting. And the value of that one is if something is discussed at the meeting and it stimulates conversation, questions, comments, there's value to the public there rather than saying, let's hold it till next month. And I think both are valuable. I don't think you waste or spend any more time by dividing the questions and the comments up, and I would ask you to just please consider that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Mark McDowell, 56 Orchard Avenue, Woodbury, Connecticut. The meeting minutes which you ratified at this meeting are they the same meeting minutes provided to the town clerks? Or were they changed since they were sent to the town clerks?
They've not changed.
Okay, because I have some questions on what occurred last month. The question also, I think Adele Taylor requested that the board members who belong to various committees be listed. So is that information relating to the board members for each of the committees listed on the website?
Yes.
Okay, and it's easily available?
Yes.
Okay. There was a question for the building committee. Mr. Bauer reported, this committee met on 7/29. However, no action will be taken until the litigation is settled. RFPs were discussed and will be prepared when they can be used. What RFPs were discussed?
Okay, we can answer that. Do you have multiple questions?
Yes, I do.
You can just go ahead and fire them off and we'll.
Okay. So then there was a meeting which was scheduled for the building committee on August 27th, and it got canceled. The question was, what was that committee going to do since we had the litigation in process? It has been accepted in the Litchfield courts. And why are we thinking about RFPs at this point? Because there's a question as to whether this whole thing is legal or not. The other question is, again, I think it was asked by Ms. Morgan about how could this have happened and what were the steps taken so that this won't happen again. And it's not outlined what you're going to do so that this doesn't happen again. You say you're going to do something, but what that is has not been defined. And I think the public would like to know what you're going to do to alert the public on the steps you're going to take when you go for a vote. And please, hopefully in the future, you will inform the whole public in the proper mode. At this point, I question whether you're going to take responsibility for this illegal vote, or you're going to force us to go through the courts, and there are 2 lawsuits, and the expense, when what you did is clearly illegal, and you people have failed to recognize that, and yet you're going to put this town through those expenses. guess that's all I have for right now. Just wish you, are you going to answer those this
Yeah,
evening?
I'll just finish the privilege of the floor, and then we'll answer those questions, yeah. Anyone else? Just on the question of the RFPs, if you wanted, George, you can handle that.
Yeah, in terms of the building committee, I don't have a list of the RFPs we discussed, I don't have the minutes in front of me. But the discussion to that extent was items that would be important when we do go out for RFPs. In terms of the building committee members discussing what type of information would be appropriate to include, not to include in the RFP. One of the RFPs, I believe, was for the advocate for the school when working with the construction manager and the architect in terms of gathering information from school teachers and so forth. What type of information, who would we want to work with this person? So it's more on discussion of the content of what to include in the RFPs when and if we were to move forward with that.
There were three specific RFPs. There was one for surveying, there was one for commissioning, and there was one for testing, PCB and asbestos. So the idea is, get the language right, get the packages so that they've been read through, so that if and when we do go out, if the project does go forward, we have something we can hit the streets with. These are front-end items in a project that we wanted to be in a position to move on if in fact we do go forward. That still is up in the air, and we're not gonna commit any resources of this district until that question's resolved. As far as the 27th meeting,
Yep, I made a decision to delay that meeting, postpone that meeting, because originally that date was chosen because we anticipated hearing back from some guidance of the two lawsuits, existing lawsuits. At that time, as of the 27th, there was no further information or guidance, so I postponed the meeting because to prepare timelines and understand the breadth of work we would have to do, we would need some sort of guidance in anticipating timeline. So I postponed that meeting, and we'll be rescheduling that when we hear more information.
so
We get more information about the lawsuit.
right, so we will be getting an update, we'll provide it to the community at the next board meeting regarding the latest status. There really hasn't been any change since the last meeting. We're waiting for a date to be set by the court in Litchfield for that to happen. As far as steps to be taken to prevent this from happening in the future, nobody wants this to not happen in the future more than the board. So we will work to develop an internal, I would say, a checklist or a QA/QC type of document that whenever we go to the towns with a vote for referendum, whether it's budget or building project, there's a sign-off that goes from the clerk to superintendent to board chair that says it has been sent to the town in the correct format and properly noticed. We need to have some type of an internal check like that to be done.
Will that be available for the public to review?
I don't see why not. It's gonna be a public record document, but this is more of a, and this has not been finalized, but I'm thinking that would be the best way to do it, so we have some people signing off on what goes to the towns.
And also, relating back to the RFPs, it would be helpful if in the meeting minutes, you were more specific and relate what it is you're discussing. And even tonight, we still don't know what RFPs we did go over three, okay.
They are,
But the chair, are you the chair of the building committee?
yes.
Said he didn't know what they were, you had to bail him out.
Well, I'm an engineer and I do a lot of specification work and I read RFPs, so it's part of my thing, but
Okay.
there were three
I
specific things.
apologize, I don't mean that
I think,
super as a criticism, I'm just trying to make sure from, as we go forward, that this board releases the proper information to the public.
it's not in our best interest to keep information from the public regarding the proceedings that we're carrying forward on the building committee. There are meetings that are held that you are free to attend to, and if you want any information regarding RFPs, et cetera, there's a chair and there's myself.
Thank you.
Yeah,
The listing of that is in the minutes of the building committee.
In-
Not in the board meeting, but in the minutes of the building committee.
Okay, there are meeting minutes of the building committee.
There's minutes for all.
Okay, are
committees
they
of the-
published so that the public can review?
Yes.
And where are they published?
At the moment, the committee minutes are still under the 12-13 school year on the website, because I don't have a new page for 13-14 yet, so I just tacked them onto the bottom of 12-13.
Okay. Are they also made available to the town clerks?
I don't think that the committee meeting minutes are typically made available.
But they're on the website.
They are on the
We,
website.
then they should be, and I'm sure Paul will jump on this, we should have a 13-14 calendar year
Committee.
set up for all committees.
Thank you.
It's
Yep.
probably in there.
Okay,
It wasn't there this week.
great. All right, Wayne,